We have it published. It's still a lot to add and some data, probably still missing some mappings and stuff, but here it is, the NFL dashboard. We're going to run through it in 5 to 10 minutes just to give you a feel for it and show you what's in here so far. But again, this will look differently in a week because I'm going to add week-to-week trends and stuff like that, and with any other ideas I get or ideas that people send in, they'll be added. But let's do this quick. I don't want to waste too much time. I know people don't like to watch the long videos. So first tab, team offense. This is just the team offense numbers, what they did last week. So, or whatever week you select. So see the Bengals led the way with 95 plays run. Of course, that was because of the overtime game. The interesting things here are probably the pace. So pace rank here. This just ranks the teams in terms of the seconds they used per play. So this actually looks backwards, right? Because the Jets had the fastest pace, and this is 32, so I'll flip this around. This should be 1, of course. But seconds per play, it's how many, on average, how many seconds of clock you use per play. This is really subject to blowouts and stuff, because if you were playing from behind, you're going to play faster, so you need to keep that in mind, but good to see there. Anyway, expected pass percentage here, this is a good one as well. People kind of like to see this stuff. What this is every play, depending on the situation you're in, there's an overall average percent of expected pass. So if you're, if it's 3rd and 10, your expected pass percentage is something like 95%. You don't really run very much. So that takes that into consideration, and it says, okay, the Cowboys were playing from behind a lot. In a normal situation, we would have expected them to pass 82% of the time. In reality, they only pass 73.5% of the time, so that would be a kind of a bad sign for their offense, meaning they're running a lot more than you would expect them to, but only 1 week of 1 week of games. So, but anyway, it's good to see that. And then these two numbers are summarized in this. So this is pass over expectation. So Miami here was the top team because you can see they were only expected to pass 52% of the time, but they did 62% of the time. So 10 points over average there, and that makes them the most pass-heavy team in week 1. This will be way more interesting to see when we get a few weeks of data and things kind of normalize, because right now it is really, although these columns do what I just talked about, does kind of take care of the game situation because it factors that in. So if you're behind, this isn't really subject to that. So it's a pretty good number to look at right now, but it's obviously good to see if teams do the same thing for multiple weeks to feel confident about it. Next tab, team defense, same exact dashboard. I just put the defenses here. So right now you'll see that it's just the inverses. Cincinnati ran 95 plays, and that's against the Steelers. So right now this row, since there's only one game, is just the same as the Cincinnati row in the other tab. But that'll be interesting to see after we get more data to see which defenses are getting passed on a lot, or running fast paces against them and things like that. But okay, quarterback sheet. Still some more stuff to add here, but let me just hit the highlights. This is basic stats here, not a ton that you can't find on ESPN or wherever basic places you go. But air yards is here, average depth of target, which can just be considered average depth of pass attempt. That's here, so you can sort by those. Maybe the interesting things here is you can see what passers did on downs. I don't know, you want to see what they did on 3rd down. Russell Wilson made 12 completions on 3rd down to lead the way. You can see, give me 3rd and long. So this would tell you every down that's 3rd and 10 or more. You can see that. Nobody threw a touchdown. Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields threw touchdowns on 3rd and long. So that's kind of interesting. If you're really getting into the granular, you can also see yard line. So if you want to see the red zone, you can do this. So the yard line 1 through 20 is the red zone. So keep that in mind, because I know that could be confusing, but 1 through 20 is the red zone, and then as you get further out, that's further away from the end zone. Patrick Mahomes threw 5 touchdowns in the red zone. You can even look at who threw passes. Justin Herbert threw 3 passes when they were on the 1 or the 2 yard line inside there, stuff like that. Pass length here, you can see deep or short. Obviously the ADOT is going to be pretty high on the deep passes and pretty low on the short passes, so that just kind of confirms what that does. No huddle, 1 or 0. No huddle, 0 meaning no, so that's under center. Or sorry, I don't have the shotgun. I can put a shotgun one in here too, but no huddle is self-explanatory. Um, you can see their stats. I don't even know why anyone would really want to see that, but it's there. It was just a, have at it. You can also see when I need to put these actual names in here. Again, it's all work in progress, so bear with me here. But if you want to see passer stats when targeting a certain receiver, you can see here. So Matthew Stafford went 13 for 15 with 128 yards when targeting Cooper Kupp. So that's kind of interesting too, more for fun than for fantasy stuff. But after we get another game here, I'm going to have to add games played and do some per game stats as well. Maybe that'll be a separate tab. Okay, skill player data now. This is wide receivers, running backs, tight ends. Touches is rush attempts plus receptions. Air yards, routes run here. This is it's coming from a different source, so there might be some guys missing, but we can see the routes run leaders, target per route run there, average depth of target, yards per target, yards per rush. Again, you can do the down stuff, pick what situation you want. So I don't know who had the most touches inside. Well, let's do the yard line thing. So let's do green zone. What's that? 1 through the 5. So we're looking at plays run inside the 5, and Najee Harris, Miles Sanders, Joe Mixon, Jamal Williams all had 3 touches inside there. You want to see target leaders. You want to see like red zone target leaders. You can do that. Just put that one at 120. Jamar Chase, 6 targets in the red zone. Remember to always clear your filters. If you're done looking at something, clear the filter so you're seeing the full data again. But yeah, if you want to just see like, okay, who had what receivers had at least 5 targets and with a high ADOT or something like that, like that's something you might want to know. Because if you just look at the ADOT leaders overall, you get these guys with 1 target. Tylan Wallace had 1 target that went 36 yards in the air, but you don't really care about that. So if you want to see like the actual guys getting usage with a high ADOT, you can select targets there. Show me the guys with 7+ targets and sort by ADOT. Cortland Sutton and DJ Chark. I mean, pretty regular names you see up there, but Mark Andrews is pretty interesting there as a tight end, getting a lot of air yards. Kyle Pitts as well. So there's that. You can even check usage with score differential. So I don't know who was down 30 points. That's the Cardinals, right? So you can see what they did when they were down 30 points or when they were down at least 20 points, stuff like that. Again, not sure why you'd use that, but you can if you want. You can search for your player here. Again, these are the short names. I need to fix that. Snaps and routes tab next. This is a lot of this stuff was in the other tabs, but if you just want this data, you can just come here and select it. There's your snap leaders, your snap percent leaders, targets, again, routes run, targets per route run. This is a popular one that people want. It's a little bit tougher to find, but it's here. I have selectors here, so you want to see, again, like targets per route run. Okay, Brandon Powell was 100%, but he only ran 1 route, so let me see. I don't know, I want to see receivers who ran at least 30 routes and see who got the most targets per route run, and there's your normal names at the top with some interesting names here as well. Okay, I should probably put a snap percent filter here too, so I'll do that. Here's a kind of an interesting one that I like to see. DraftKings points per snap, that's what that is. Anytime you see DK on these dashboards, that means DraftKings points. So Justin Jefferson had, 0.76 DraftKings points scored per snap played, so to lead the slate. So that's kind of interesting to see scoring efficiency, stuff like that. And I should add a position filter on here too. I'll do that. I'll put position so you can filter between if you just want to see the tight ends or something like that. Share data. This one you have to pick one team at a time because that's the only way the calculations work. But you can see target share, air yard share, rush attempt share, total touchdowns share. So I don't know. I was interested in the Green Bay backfield, so we can go here and show that, sort by rush attempts. You can see that A.J. Dillon had 10 carries while Aaron Jones only had 5, so Dillon kind of dominated the rushing, and he was pretty up there on the target share as well. So that's a decent tab to go to see how teams are divvying up the work. And here's just that scatter plot with air yards against actual receiving yards. Um, colored by, what even is the color? Catch percentage, I guess. So kind of a fun one to look at there. So, okay, so there's the dashboard. It is still a work in progress. Please, if you see any names that aren't right, I'm sure there are some mappings and some stuff in here, and maybe even some data points that aren't exactly right. Keep in mind that the way you define a target, or the way you define a what else, like a play run, like some sources will call if you snap the ball and you're going to pass, but then it gets blown dead to a false start or something like that. Some sources will call that a pass play. Some will not. I think my source does. We call anytime you can tell it was going to be a pass play, we count that. But some of those numbers will be a little bit different in targets as well. Like if a quarterback throws the ball out of bounds over someone's head, sometimes that'll count as a target for that receiver, but it clearly wasn't, so we try to not give them credit for that. But that's why you'll see slight differences in some of this stuff. But okay, let me know what's wrong, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to add, and I will do my best to keep this improving. So thanks.